Right, let's start it again then.
Hey, what up, boys? The MMO genre is infamously known for wasting your time with
Is the video
arbitrary
better now?
grinds and daily type systems. Recently, as the honeymoon period ends, Lost Ark has been outed as one of these MMOs that don't actually respect your time at all and instead incentivize pay-to-win mechanics because apparently that's respecting your time.
It does. It does. It's ridiculous. Then tier sets, you can't do them. People have been failing like 200 times in a row, and then fucking joke, man. What a shit Korean game. But anyway, have you seen that video of that person who's put 15 grand, 15 grand in it since it's come out in the West? Fucking needs to get a grip.
Anyway, the MMO genre is on a very dark path, it seems. But fear not, as there is one MMO out there that does genuinely respect your time, and that's Guild Wars 2. However, that trade-off comes at the cost of lacking a few elements that make MMOs appealing to a lot of people, and I'd like to discuss that with you all today. But before we get into that, grab yourself a Coca-Cola, because there's a reason why Guild Wars 2 doesn't
Scott, he's just grabbed himself a Coca-Cola and not a beer, not a Foster's or a gin and tonic. What is that all about?
quite reach the same numbers as games like 14 and what World of Warcraft did back in the day, and it's
Final Fantasy 14 only did the numbers because Asmongold streamed it, and then everyone jumped on hype about it. That's the only reason why that picked up so much. If you look at it now, it's dropped dramatically on stream. It's on 4,000, 2,000 average. So it's not as popular as you think.
down to one simple reason. The game just lacks meaningful rewards. Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
Yeah, go on.
So,
Respecting
Guild
your
Wars
wallet.
2 is a fantastic MMO. I've covered it extensively on the channel, and this game is 100% worth your time, especially if you've not played it before. Or perhaps you played it back when it first released and you ended up quitting because it genuinely wasn't your cup of tea. And trust me, I wouldn't have blamed you, as there was a lot of other releases around 2012. For starters, Pandaland was releasing 1 month after Guild Wars 2's launch. It seems every single time ArenaNet tried to release a huge...
Well, to be honest with you, let's talk about this little story here. I actually pre-ordered Guild Wars in 2012. Like my account is like as old as the game has been out, and I played it for 2 hours and I went straight back to WoW. Think of how much knowledge. Think of how good I would be at jump puzzles now if I'd have been playing it for that long.
Huge update for Guild Wars 2. Another larger company tries to outplay them, mainly Blizzard.
And now the game is a husk.
But all this is an interesting subject for another upcoming video.
So subscribe.
Guild Wars 2 has changed
I like that.
dramatically
Decent.
since 2012. I'd argue it's not even the same game, and in my humble opinion as a guy who respects a well-made MMO, Guild Wars 2 is currently one of the best, and as the title of the video suggests, it is also the only MMO that genuinely does respect your time. But what does that statement actually mean? Well, when an MMO respects your time, it's about having fun gameplay that isn't padded with boring grinds or arbitrary
No.
time-gated progression, whilst also giving the players the option to spend a little bit of cash in order to inject a little bit of quality of life to their account. Now, I will not...
It does. I'd also say one that values your time is when you can log off for like, say, a week or two and not feel like you're behind at all. Respecting your time is not having to farm for gear, in my opinion. That's how I feel. I don't know what everyone else. I don't know what everyone else's thoughts are on that. But I think if you're not having to farm for gear all the time, you're not having to play the game as much, and you're not going to be behind. That's my opinion, really. But I don't know.
Hide the fact that Guild Wars 2 has a very convenience-heavy cash shop. However, because of the mechanics of Guild Wars 2 and how it caters everything to the casual player, I'd argue Guild Wars 2's gem store is by far the most ethical and non-mandatory convenience in-game cash shop
Oh, peace out, Crow. Thanks for stopping by, mate. See you later.
to actually exist within the multiverse, complemented by the lack of any mandatory sub fee to play the game, or in fact, any optional sub fees either. The game pretty much bends itself backwards to convenience you in every possible way. But the game needs to make money somehow, right? And it does, quite successfully in fact, because the game's expansions are buy to play. Currently, as it stands, you can play the whole of vanilla Guild Wars 2 completely for free and purchase the first 2 expansions in a bundle for $25. This gives you access to
There you can, that's
thousands of
exactly what
hours of
I've done.
extremely high quality gameplay, an infinite amount of new mechanics in the form of horizontal progression, hundreds of hours of gripping story missions,
I'll tell you what, that horizontal progression though did do me when I first started playing this game. When I got to max level, I couldn't get my head around it. I needed to stop playing. But
arguably on the same level as
and also, what are all your thoughts about if they actually did put a monthly sub option in this game? Would you be up for that? I don't know. I don't know if I really like that, but we can see. It probably never happened. I don't seem like the sort of company that I'd ever do that.
Final Fantasy XIV, with access to 9 of the most beautiful, lore-enriching zones and 7 engaging 10-man raids. For the additional cost of another $25, you'll gain access to Guild Wars 2's latest expansion, End of Dragons, which is by far their best work yet, offering more of the same insanely beautiful zones.
Well, I ain't touched that game yet. I ain't touched the expansion. I'm wanting to do everything currently before doing that.
This MMO has been sowing. But we're not done yet, my friends. Guild Wars 2 offers a lot of additional upgrades, content, and story in the form of their living world. This is how Guild Wars 2 delivers their free content updates in between expansions. But these content updates are only free if you actively log into the game during the 3 or 4 month period when they are considered current content. This means if you're gonna start playing the game today for the first time, you need to purchase these episode bundles from their gem store. But fear not, as Guild Wars 2 goes one further by doing something
Do you know what?
Bezos.
I just want to say one thing. Is that legit? Are all them pizza boxes legit? Like, seriously? Is that legit? Gee whiz. I hope he don't get ham and pineapple anyway. I hope he don't get ham and pineapple pizza. Blooming heck. Lose all respect for him if he got ham and pineapple.
Would find sickening. It also respects your wallet.
Well, he don't. Not bad.
You see, Guild Wars 2 lets you convert all in-game gold to gems, allowing you to acquire these content bundles without spending any real-life money whatsoever. But this in-game gold to gem conversion mechanic does exist within games like World of Warcraft and even Lost Ark, and it is considered a pay-to-win mechanic. But here's where Guild Wars 2 is a little different. So now the monetization and content part of Guild Wars 2 is all cleared up, the game seems perfectly fine, right? Well, although the monetization may be fair and the content itself is
I'll tell you what.
to engage in,
There's something else that's really bugging me, right? Do you know, because I've played Guild Wars more, and as I was playing, people used to say this to me all the time. He's got mail. He's got mail. I understand all your pain while you're watching me. That is irritating.
Guild Wars 2 is missing a vital component that drives players to invest in a game for long periods of time.
He's gonna say raiding.
Meaningful,
Endgame.
satisfying power growth. This
Oh,
does
power
not
growth, fair enough.
exist in Guild Wars 2. Once you hit max level, you have a ceiling of gear that is very easy to obtain. You'll
It
have
is.
the gear soft cap in less than a day without spending any gold, and you'll reach the very hard cap in, well, provided you do the story content, you're given this hard cap for basically no investment whatsoever. Now, don't get me wrong, you can utilize the crafting and endgame content in Guild Wars 2 to obtain this as well, but the point is, it's not mandatory. Nothing is gated around your gear level, and everything is balanced around you having the soft cap. This means two things, and two things that are completely unique to this MMO. To my knowledge, at least, I may be a degenerate who's dedicated their whole adult life to MMOs.
But that's how Guild Wars respects your time, though. Because in other MMOs, like you look at Lost Ark, and in Lost Ark, the reason why that's pay to win is power, getting your eye level up. The reason why people say World of Warcraft don't value your time is getting your eye level up to do Mythic, Heroic. You don't have that issue in Guild Wars, and that's why it respects your time.
But even then, I cannot be all-knowing to every single MMO in existence. I'd be interested to hear if any of the MMOs you've played actually offers mechanics similar to what I'm about to say, which is a subtle hint for you to leave a comment. This one here in particular would be appreciated. First of all endgame content available in the 3 expansions still remain relevant to this day. There has been no power creep or additional levels added to make this content trivial. It is still as hard as the day it was released. This is the core of Guild Wars 2's design, and this design has the byproduct of allowing players to quit the game for months or even years at a time, and they will never fall behind the curve and have to waste time grinding arbitrary levels or doing a painfully boring item level grind to catch up with everyone else's power level. This is how an MMO respects your time. So then you might ask yourself, where...
He's literally said what I said. If I'd have just shut up and let the video go on, it'd have said what I just said, so fair enough.
Where's the motivation? Where's the progression? And what's the point in even playing if there's nothing to chase? And you'd be right to ask this question, because this is the most controversial part of Guild Wars 2. The game wants casual players. Everything you earn is either cosmetic, a one-time reward, or horizontal progression that eventually ends
permanently.
So this is the real trade-off of having an MMO that respects your time. So let's spend the last segment of this video talking about Guild Wars 2's end game loop. Mastery is Guild Wars 2's version of horizontal progression. It basically powers you up in ways that help you either interact with the world, like making you immune to potent environmental dangers, allowing you to take interesting shortcuts that unlock secret loot, and allow you to activate buffs that assist you in combat through special mastery-specific stations. But the main...
I must say, this bit did annoy me. When I was playing on my engineer, I did get annoyed with this mastery ranking stuff, but some of that's got to be done.
main thing that Guild Wars 2's mastery system does is it increases your ability to traverse the world more efficiently. Heart of Thorns offers your character a new mechanic in the form of the glider, and further leveling the glider grants it new abilities to reach new places. Heart of Thorns introduced the mounts, which allow you to utilize various different animals to get through obstacles, interact with the environment further, and to be honest, the mounts added in Guild Wars 2 really changed the game and made it feel incredible in the current year. Finally, with the introduction of their new expansion, End of Dragons, they added the Jade bots, which enhance both your ability to traverse the maps, but also enhance your combat and gliding capabilities as well. This mastery system is account bound, meaning you only need to level this once on any character, and once it's done, you can use these abilities to their fullest on any of your characters, regardless of their level. Now, although this is very...
It must have... He's read his mail. He's read his mail. There's only one left.
And really does respect your time. The obvious trade-off is, eventually, once you unlock everything, there's nothing new to unlock. This normally would be a reason to keep us playing an MMO for a very long time, but with Guild Wars 2, once it's complete for good. So then what's the next best thing to keep us playing? It's gotta be the end game content, right? But the raids, the dungeons, and completing the interesting achievements all reward you with cosmetics and only cosmetics. This is sadly not enough motivation to keep people playing for more than just the actual fun of the game. I will admit, playing through Guild Wars 2's content is extremely fun, but for how
Yeah,
long?
I'm
Once
enjoying
you've
it.
earned the achievements and collected the cosmetic rewards that you want, then is there any point in continuing? Playing just for fun can only keep a player base interested for so long, and I think Guild Wars 2 is a perfect example of an MMO needing more than just cosmetics and horizontal rewards to keep players interested. A gear chase needs to exist, and without it, you may be getting your time respected, but is that time really worth it? But as usual, I am just one nerd, desperate for a good MMO, and my opinions mean nothing without yours in the comments below. And hey, on your way down, why not give the video a like? I'd also like to thank my Patreons for making this video possible, so thank you, absolutely no one. Your contribution helps fund these videos.
But Narc, Lost Ark isn't pay to win, it's pay to progress faster.
And to that I say,
Huh.
listen kid, I don't know what you've been smoking, but...
Right. Well, I suppose it has some points. The horizontal progression can be annoying when you first start the game, but it's got a good community as the game, and that's really what keeps you playing an MMO, is the people you're playing with. Not everybody just wants to progress the gear all the time, chasing gear every patch. It gets tedious and boring in my opinion. Read the comments. Sure. I don't understand why everyone's saying the lack of meaningful gear progression is its biggest flaw. I don't see how that can be classed as a negative, to be honest. It's deliberately made to be grindy, so you get bored and swipe your card to progress. Is Lost Ark, and I've learnt that the long way by actually giving Amazon £13 of my money, which I shouldn't have bloody done. Are you on about that, aren't you? Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I don't get it. It's got some negative comments, and I don't understand why. Like, if people like having to upgrade the gear every single patch, let them do it. Don't play Guild Wars. Easy as that, isn't it? Easy as that. Just don't play it. But that was a decent, nice video. I didn't go that in depth to world bosses, the random mobs that appear, elite mobs that randomly appear. That's group content. The PvP. It didn't go through World v World, which is not like that in any other game. It's unique to it. It didn't go through the meta events, the fractals. Like, you can't really name the dungeons in Guild Wars because, come on, let's be truthful, they're crap. So there's a lot of stuff to be doing in this game, and that's my opinion. It's everyone's opinion, isn't it? Oh, I guess it's a matter of perspective. I see Guild Wars in which most doesn't respect your time, because you could invest your time into the game and someone else does not. Play for 3 months and you are still at the same gear score. Do you see that as respecting your time? For me, it is not. I think the best way is a vertical progression system where 90% of power growth comes from a casual loop that's fairly easy for casuals, etc., to achieve, and then the final 10% comes from a more hardcore long-term game loop. Having an absolute 10% difference is still very manageable, but also worthwhile. I'm also not a fan of massive gear differences, making, for example, PvP completely gear dependent. For me, that's the best of both worlds. Huh? I don't get it. I'd say, oops,
Hey, what up, boys?
I'd say that comment don't make sense. Like, how is having to upgrade your gear practically every single patch good investment in your time? I don't. It used to piss me right off. It used to make you want to play all the time. Like, you can't have a break. You go away on holiday, you come back and someone's got your helmet that you wanted, and then you're behind and you get kicked out of raids. You lose your raid spot. I don't see what the point is in that. I don't know about PvP in Warcraft and stuff because I never really did it. But in PvP in Guild Wars is not gear growth. Like, it's not down to your gear. It's down to skill and knowledge of the game. But if someone comes in the game and doesn't have any knowledge, they're not going to succeed in Guild Wars. That's how I found. But everyone's allowed an opinion out there. That opinion there makes no sense, but it is what it is. Let's crack on, eh? Let's crack on. Let's get leveling up.